My name is Emilia Papadopoulos and I'm honoured to be here with all of you today and be your host. I'd like to thank you all for being here, and I'd also like to say a big thank you to Freedom 24 for putting on this event. Because it really is such a unique opportunity for all of us to come together in this very cosy and wonderful environment. I'm sure it will feel very different to other events in bigger venues. It's much more up close and personal, so I hope you can all take in as much as you can. Because we do have a wonderful setting, but we also have an audience with a very special guest. In fact, he's extraordinary. And while many of us may be familiar with his story, tonight we want to delve a little bit deeper and see what lessons we in this room can take from him, and how perhaps we can use some of his insights and utilise those and apply those in our daily lives and our careers. Welcome to double Olympic silver medalist and two-time world champion, Pavlos Kondidis. He's wearing the medals. Are you going to be comfortable? They're quite heavy. Maybe we can put them on the table for the interview. This is London and Paris.
London and Paris, 12 years apart. And the main reason is the first one, always you keep it safe. It's in the safe. The second one was not yet locked at the safe because I was using it so many times now. And that's the main reason why both of them are together for the first time. But to be honest, I've never thought about losing them. Obviously, it's a possibility, but it's something that I will not allow it to happen as long as I can.
Because there are stories of Olympians sleeping with their medals under the pillow or under the dog baskets, so you have to get a little bit creative with where you keep it. And now we will get to it a little bit later in the interview. I just want to ask you, since you mentioned it's the first time the two medals are meeting, it's a difficult question. Do you have a favourite?
I will say that the Paris one looks nicer, just speak about beauty, but the London one will always be special because of the first one, and kind of was the beginning of a long career and a long journey, and 12 years was a really long time to wait for the second one, but it kind of opened the path and the continuation of what happened all these 12 years, and now together they allow me to dream more and continue for 4 more years to come.
I was going to say, 12 years ago you made history. Was that the day that you thought, or when you knew the trajectory of your life had changed forever?
Definitely I wouldn't realize immediately what happened, and back then I remember I was switched off from reality and the news and social media and TV, and once I open and tune in to reality, then it was kind of sinking in what was really a great achievement. It was like 30-40 minutes in the main news all the time, and when we came back in Cyprus, was thousands of people came to celebrate with me, and this shows how big this was for Cyprus, for me, and for the people that work with me and my family to manage that great victory.
I also imagine now the way you deal with pressure is very, very different. Does it motivate you? How do you use it to fuel success?
In my opinion, the pressure was much higher in the Olympic Games to follow, like Rio, Tokyo, and now Paris. Because back in London, I didn't know what to expect if I was winning a medal, and being switched off from the reality helped me to do my job. And a lot of times, if we think about the end result, especially if it's a really big one, then it undermines our performance, it gives us anxiousness, nervousness, and doesn't allow us to perform at our best. But being a professional athlete, it's one of the key to success, to kind of switch off from the reality and just do your thing, just do what you know. You have to train every day of your life to go at the Olympic Games, and they're every 4 years, and perform at your best. So if you are imagining and thinking what will the end result bring, this will just increase the pressure and it's unnecessary. This undermines your performance.
But is that something that you've learned across that journey? Because I imagine it was very different in 2012 to then Rio, Tokyo, and now.
2016 Olympic Games. Something that I want to speak a lot about to the audience is about expectations. Expectations, excuse my language, but they can be a bitch. And just after the London medal, all the journalists will ask me, and now what to expect from you, the gold in Rio, and I fall in their trap. I was just thinking, yeah, you know, I won now silver, it's so easy to do it, yeah, gold in Rio. And this what just created was high expectations to the people and resulting in me thinking about their end result and not just doing what I can best. And in the end, I finished 7th at the games by doing a silly mistake in one of the races, which at my level I shouldn't have done, but I did. And this taught me that expectations are really bad because they undermine your performance, and allowed me afterwards to change a lot of things in my mental approach and build mental resilience, which is something we'll definitely speak also later. And yeah, and the reason why I was really sad, and I can admit that I was maybe even kind of catastrophe in English, sorry. Depression, yeah, I was kind of feeling in depression, and the main reason was that I felt that I didn't give my 100%. I didn't take the best out of Pavlos, and in life, what we should strive and seek is to give on a daily basis our 100%. Because at the end of the day, we cannot give anything more, but we can always give less. And I can connect this with going back to London. Before the games, I announced to my family that I wanted to post my studies. And my mom, she's there. At the beginning, as every mom, especially from Cyprus, she was saying, no, you won't post your studies, you can't do both. But then I just explained, Mom, Olympic Games are every 4 years. All athletes are professionals, they fully do that. And at the end of the day, regardless of the result, I want to see myself in the mirror and say, hey buddy, you did the best you could. And once I told her this, she was my best ally in that. Then everybody else from the family, the aunties and uncles and the grandmothers, if they came and say, why you should freeze your studies, then she was there for me to support my decision. And this shows that the ultimate goal on a daily basis is to see ourselves in the mirror and know that we are giving everything we put in what we are doing. But how can we achieve that? By having dreams, by enjoying and loving what we are doing, and having dreams which really make our hair stand high. In 2004, I was in Athens Olympic Games as a spectator, and the dream of Olympicism and Olympic Games really grew into me. I came back from the games, I said to my best friend, I dream to go at the Olympic Games, I dream to win an Olympic medal. People thought I'm crazy, nobody did that before in Cyprus, but your dreams should make people think that you are crazy. Imagine that your abilities are up to here. If you dream until here, most probably you will bypass this, but you won't reach your abilities. But if you dream the sky, then you will definitely bypass your abilities. And this is what is life all about. It's not just professional sport, but in everything we do, and many principles apply the same.
Even though so many people will listen and they will say all these negative things, my mind was able to create this shield that was repelling all this negativity and just keeping focus on my daily routine. And it took, since I dreamed, it took 8 years and then 12 more, so 20 in total, to have these 2 silver medals here on the table. And this cannot be done without consistency, without the dedication, without correct time management. And all this again apply to all of you in anything you do. Back in 2005, I was still in high school. I will wake up in the morning, 5:30. I will go on my training, cycling usually. And then my fitness coach, then he will drive me to grammar school. I was going at grammar school. So I was lucky that we are starting at 8 and not 7:30, so we have more time to sleep. And all my classmates will be like really sleepy in the room, and I was full of energy because I just woke up so long ago. I already did training. But this was helping me immediately to focus in class and try and attract and learn as much as possible, which was saving me time later on to have more time to train. After school, immediately off to sailing. And then when I was done with sailing, usually with the sunset, I had the lunchbox with me, I was eating, resting a bit, and then doing the gym. Then it was 8:30 in the night, I had to go home, have dinner, study, have shower, and sleep early for the next day of school. And even when I think it now, I'm still like, how was that possible? It was possible because I had priorities in my day. I didn't have distractions. I wouldn't go, back then social media was not so popular, but I wouldn't go and play 2 hours on PlayStation or watch half-hour TV. That I was motivated from things that are not entirely up to me and things that are affected from many different parameters and sectors. But internal motivation means that you do it because you enjoy it, because you love it, and because I was competitive, I was enjoying the sea. But I had also external motivation, which actually cost me, even though the result came. These couple of months afterwards, I went back to university to finish my studies, but they were obviously also emotional, which is strange.
Was it a confusing time? Because I imagine you sort of went, well, what else do I need to do? You know, I've got the medal, and now what? And you wait all that time. It must have been, did you ever go to a place where you thought, I'm not good enough, or why does nobody want to come on board?
Yeah, it's a really strange feeling and strange place to be. But again, if you have clarity in yourself why you are doing it, what are your dreams, and definitely loving what you are doing, then through time you navigate through this difficult emotional state, I would say.
And I wanted to talk a little bit about failure, because I think with a lot of people that go on to achieve great success, behind that great success are stories, and remarkable stories of times when things weren't as good, and times where there was a certain darkness along the way, along the road. So I just wondered if you could share with us maybe something that comes to mind, a time when you felt that you had failed, and how that propelled you to move forward. And it doesn't have to be, you know, a failure of losing a specific race. It could just be a time where you questioned your entire decision to go ahead with everything.
Personally, I like to delete failure from my vocabulary. I always try to use unwanted results. And the reason is very simple. Failure, by definition, is when you attempt something, you don't manage to get what you want, but you stop. Unwanted result, you attempt something, you don't get what you want, but you keep going. And in professional athletes' careers, you have millions of situations of unwanted results. From on a daily training, you didn't lift, let's say, the weights that your fitness coach assigned because you are too tired or the body couldn't make it that day, or you didn't reach the watts on the bicycle. That's absolutely normal. And all these small things and the consistency you do, they help you to strive through. But definitely, a life of a champion have a lot of challenges. And the road is not with red carpet and roses. It's definitely bumpy and shaky and sometimes very dark. And what I have in mind, it's back in 2010. I was coming from a 2009 season, which was very promising, winning a bronze medal at the Senior Europeans and 2 silver medals at World Cups. And it was around March in 2010, I was training in Split, and suddenly, while training, I felt electricity in my back. And then I continued the sailing session, I came back on shore, I had discomfort in my back and my muscles. Okay, we thought it's something muscular with the coach. And 10 days passed, 2 weeks passed, the pain was still there, not going away, so we realized, okay, something's going on here. We went to a neurologist, one of the best of the country. He was teaching at the States. He got his small hammer, he started checking all the nerves, and he said, everything seems fine, but just to make sure, because you're an athlete, let's do an MRI. We did the MRI, the results came back, he gets a look at it. Now you can stop with sailing and become a doctor like your parents want. I had discus hernia. Discus hernia means when the disc has a crack, there liquid came out and it was pressing the nerve. That's why I had the pain. The months which followed were dark, were cloudy, were stormy. There was moments that I couldn't walk by myself properly, I couldn't put my socks on, and really, like a lot of people thought that everything in my career was finished. I was just changing doctors until I found a doctor that said that my career is not finished. And with the team around me and the people who love me, I managed to brush all these dark clouds away, bring my body back to normal shape, and in August I finished 5th at the Senior World Championship.
Did it ever cross your mind that your career might be over at that point? Did you let that come into your mind?
It crossed in my mind the day when the doctor announced me that, so for a few days I was really shaken up. But then talking around and realizing that this is kind of a common injury in sailing, then it was kind of soothing that and changing that, and let's say after 10-15 days I said, okay, this is not what I want, this will happen, I will just keep going, it's a challenge down the road. And I managed to get through that challenge, but then another one came along, quite close in the dates. It was the beginning of 2011, so I was training in Croatia, and through an accident I broke my arm. You can see here, it's also quite dented, this here. Because I had the accident, I broke my arm, but next day I traveled back to the UK to finish the exams I had, just having my arm straight. And when I went to a friend of mine convinced me to go to the hospital because she thought my hand is swollen. And then we just see that the bone is just poof, in 2 pieces. And again, darkness, stormy weather. I was studying to finish the exams, I was eating bad and just focusing on that. I was thinking, okay, I have Olympic Games in 1.5 years, what will I do? Eventually I came back to Cyprus and I came to my fitness coach and I said, what are we gonna do now? You know, I was really sad and thought that kind of my chances are getting much smaller because so long that you're out, you need so long to come back. So if 4 months you're out, you need 4 months to come back at least. And then he told me, we will train with the cast in your arm. So I was going 2 times per day in the gym for 2 to 3 hours sessions, coming back home and using the fan to dry the sweat from my arm. And my sister knows a lot about it because she was helping me. But what really made me stronger and more resilient from this whole experience is once the cast was off. I just had the bone, no muscles, and in 3 weeks' time I wanted to compete at EARS, the French week, which is...
I'm actually going to stop you because we do have a video of you training during this time, and I apologize for some of the language in the video. But just to give everyone a...
That's the easy leg, now the right leg is harder. These are the moments that make you tougher as a person and they teach you much more. And what I wanted to share once I removed the cast, I really wanted to go in this French week. It's my favorite event in the sailing calendar. It's like our Wimbledon, let's say. And my fitness coach knew how challenging it was to bring me in a state that will not risk re-injury again. So I have all this pain in my wrist from not using the arm for so long, 3.5 months. I couldn't even make it straight. And about 7-8 days since we removed the cast, he tells me, do a push-up. And I say, are you crazy? I cannot even put my wrist there. Do a push-up, listen what I'm saying. So I put my hands down, and of course, I fall. I didn't manage to do a push-up. Then he screams at me and says, if you don't do a push-up, you won't go to the French week. I did not one, not two, but 3 push-ups. And this shows exactly the power of our mind, how strong it can be, and if we know how to use it. My wound that moment was much stronger than the pain and anything else. He just triggered it by saying, you won't go, and I wanted so much to go that my mind forgot about anything. How many times you listen to stories about a mom that leaves the car because her baby was trapped under? How a woman can lift the 600 kilos of deadlift? No chance in our logic. But when the emotion is there and you just go, then, and it's really important to understand this. Last night was, or 2 nights ago, the football match, England versus Greece. And the Greek players, they played for their fellow teammate who passed away, and they won 2-1. They never scored versus England in a football match in England, and they won 2-1. This shows again how strong is our mind. You just need to find these small switches. And really, this experience with the band and with my arm made me who I am today, gave me all this resilience and all this mental toughness that helped me in London Olympic Games and through my life and managing pressure and all this. And actually, they made a study. What is the difference between really good athletes who are managing to always be there at the top but not having an Olympic medal or a World Championship medal, and the ones that do have? And the only difference they found is that the ones with the medals had of something of a tragedy in their life, kind of a big injury, or they lost someone in the family, and this kind of, it can be a bit sad, but it shows how these moments, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. It's a bit of cliché, but it's completely true, and this is what is proven from. I don't want to do it, but it's kind of hierarchically, I'm trusting him, and then we always do it, and if it's something that he was wrong with, then he will admit, and there is of course communication, and together we go forward. And in anything we do, always there is people around us, and always there are people to help us. And you just have to think that if you just take one branch of a tree, how easy it is to break it. But if you take 10 of them and put them together, then you cannot break them. And this is exactly what it's teamwork all about. When 10 people unite and they work together, they can have much more greater results. And the results you see is not just by myself, but it's a lot of people are involved in this, and all of them are part of these branches that bond together and make us a strong team.
Very nicely said. Because I think the elite world of sport and also the corporate world have a lot in common, but one is competition, because it can be very, very fierce, and sometimes our opponents or our colleagues might not always show sportsmanship or behave in a way that we think is fair. And you've had moments in races where somebody that you were racing against maybe didn't behave in the way they should, or frustrated you out on the water. How do you deal with that in the moment, that aggression in competition?
We are kind of used to it, this between competitors, but I will speak about the moment of Tokyo, which was from a jury, not from a competitor, because it also felt unfair and everything. With a competitor, you can protest and you can resolve it, or you can go speak to them, or they're just not your friends, but kind of, we are a bit used to this culture, let's say. But something which happened and felt really unfair was the second yellow flag I got in Tokyo, which it looks like it cost me another Olympic medal, possibly even the gold medal. And I have to be honest, it was very hard for me to accept it, but I had to move on even during competition. So I remember coming to my coach the moment it happened and saying to him kind of everything is over, and then he just gave me short chat and bring me back into concentration, so I was able to perform the next race. But once the games were finished and everything sunk in, it was hard. It was hard to accept that, because it felt that I did everything possibly could, but it felt unfair. And in life, many situations, also in corporate life, we feel that. We might, spending so many hours working, we might have so great results in a project, and we expect a promotion, but it doesn't happen, or it happens to somebody else. And it feels bad, it feels unfair. It comes to our mind that we want to change a job, we want to change a company, and these are all normal situations to be at. But the most important thing is to understand that things that we cannot fully affect and disturb, we have to accept them. And for me, it was really helpful with what happened at the Formula 1 World Championship when Verstappen won his first World Championship. And when afterwards they came and said that what they did was a mistake and that Hamilton should have won. And then I wonder, okay, in a sport with so much money, so many sponsors, live TV, and this happened and they cannot kind of reverse that decision, then shows you that life is like that, life is tough, and sometimes things will happen against you that they're completely unfair, but you have to take them up to the chin, accept them and move on. Because if you don't accept it and you just leave your mind there, it's just undermining yourself and your performance and your emotional status. You just feel negative about it, and you will just complaining, but this doesn't help you. And the others don't care about you, it's yourself who should care about yourself. Sport together with your body, which is not something you find in most of the sports. But if you see most of the sport greats, when they have really long careers, none of them is doing it, neither for the money, neither for the glory. They do it because they love it. And now Nadal recently announced that he retired. I met him personally, a really humble man, in 2016 opening ceremony as a flag bearer. He was the only one from the superstars that was approachable and having a selfie with anyone that was going there. But he had so long career because he loved what he was doing. He was not doing it for the win. You can see LeBron James, he enjoyed basketball as a game. He's having the longest NBA career. So all of these greats, they have one thing in common. They enjoy what they do, and they don't do it for external factors, but for internal.
They mean a lot to you, don't they?
They are family to me. I mean, just these words you cover, how important they are to fund and support and help me continue my journey. And this is what you said with the sponsors and starting the dream from 2004, but watching all the logos 20 years after, it shows that a lot of times we need to be patient and consistent and persistent until we seek and get the results we want. They won't happen, success doesn't happen overnight. It's not that now you leave this room and you go home and say, okay, from tomorrow I'm successful. No, it needs hard work. You cannot ask Evgeny, he started Freedom more than 10 years ago in Cyprus. I was reading his interview, it was a couple of people, and now it's so many employees and so big dreams. But he had a vision, he had a dream, he had passion, and step by step.
It reminds me of someone else in this room. And thank you for answering that so honestly. I'd now like to ask you a question that, I don't know, maybe it will be difficult, maybe it won't. About one piece of advice. It could be a quote or a piece of advice that somebody gave you in your life, something that you carry with you, maybe daily or before a competition, and something that you think about often.
My coach, I already said it before, he gave emphasis to me and saying that don't spend energy on things you cannot control or things you cannot change. And on a daily basis, things happen of great importance or not so important. For example, in the same competition, you are leading the race and they abandon the race because they've been dropped. It's something you cannot control. If you just go back, oh, why they abandoned the race, I was leading, this could have been a result-changing race, it just stacks you there, undermines your performance, and when the next race goes on, you will just not be as good as you could be. And then on things of greater importance, same like with the yellow flag, it's something that I cannot control. It's not in my powers. So you just have to accept it. Don't spend energy on things you cannot control. I think this is a great advice, because it's in our nature to kind of moan and complain and always discuss on things that happened to us and it could have been different. But by simply asking the simple question, can I change this? Can I control it? No. Then move on. Don't spend your energy.
Thank you. We'll all be taking that on board. And just lastly, looking forward to the future, I know you've announced that the next Games is your last, but what is next for you? Obviously training for the Games, but can you tell us a little bit about Pavlos Kondidis' future? What does it look like? What are you dreaming about? What are your plans?
I love doing talks like this, like motivational talks. I really get, I also get great energy from you people when I help that, when I feel that I can help you. I have a dream of making the Cyprus Sea full of the sails, full with sails. So I'm working towards it, and I'm sure together with Freedom we'll eventually have an international sailing academy and a venue where international competitions will be held. And it's something in the making. It's still fresh, but I believe in 3-4 years' time it can be really ready.
That would be amazing. Just before we finish, we're going to do something a little bit fun. We're going to do a fire round of questions, and you have to answer them with one or two words, absolute maximum. Other than sailing, which sport would it be?
Tennis.
It's quick.
Paddle tennis.
You can pick one place to sail, anywhere in the world. Where are you going?
Limassol.
Before each race, do you feel more nervous or more excited?
More excited.
Your favourite cheat meal?
Ice cream.
The best thing to do when you have time off?
Relax.
How do you relax?
Watch Netflix.
So he is normal. If you could relive one moment in your career, just one, over again, which one would it be?
Race number 5 in Rio, the start.
Well, now I have to ask you why.
Because it was the silly decision not to tack immediately and go to the right where it was much less current. And instead of finishing top 5, I finished 20-something, which was the difference of winning bronze or silver or stage 7.
And what about a happy moment that you could relive?
Winning the awards in Split.
Pavlos Kondidis, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for sharing all of your wisdom with us. I mean, you've said so many incredible things, and I think every single person here will feel incredibly inspired and in awe and have admiration for you. You've done so much, not just for Cyprus, but for young people, and not just people who watch sailing, people that look at you and feel so proud. Proud by proxy, that's what I call it, because I think everybody that lives in Cyprus, even if you're not Cypriot, no matter where you're from, we all feel proud to be here, and we feel so proud of you. So thank you, and congratulations on everything.
Thank you very much.
I'm from the International Sailing Club, Cyprus International Sailing Club. I'm interested to know what other types of the boats you're interested in, apart from laser.
All boats that I can sail, I always enjoy to do, especially with friends, and enjoying the speed we can get in the Limassol Bay. And it's always really nice to sail here in Limassol. So when I have more time, I will enjoy to sail also with Tatiana, Evgeny, and more people of you.
I just wrote a question before. 3 years ago, I have seen in the Cyprus Sailing Federation the foiling moth dinghy. Somebody told me that it belongs to you. And then the question is if you managed or not.
I managed to foil, of course, but don't have much time to sail it now. It's kind of prehistoric with the development that has happened now. A nice dinghy which looks really promising is a switch dinghy. It's foiling, it's one design. And personally, I really enjoy the one design classes because it's just the skills of the sailor. They all have kind of the same equipment, and I think it's much more competitive on that way.
Once again, and thank you to Freedom 24 for giving us the chance to do this and, you know, talk to you and learn so much about you, not just about the sport, but about what goes on in your mind. It's fascinating. It's something we don't get to do every day. So we thank you for your honesty and for your grace and for everything that you've done.
Thank you very much.